All right, peace, everybody. Peace. Whoever's up wants to participate and join in and watch, feel free to. Um, or if you're going to watch it later, that's fine too. I appreciate it. I did a video talking about advice and predictions for 2022. That video still stands. It's still on my YouTube page. However, tonight I'm going to dive in deeper. I'm going to look more at the astrology aspects and some of the changes happening astrologically. I am not an astrologer, but I love astrology and I've been studying it a long time and I'm always learning new things. And this is something, some stuff really came up in my reading and my researching and studying, and I wanted to share it with you guys. So here we go. I actually wrote a ton of freaking notes, like 3 pages, so I'm going to take my time and go through it. Feel free to ask any questions you are, any questions that you have, feel free to ask it throughout this. So first, I'm going to start by talking about the astrological placements and things happening. I'm going to focus more on January because that's what we just entered. And some of these things are really going to start hitting literally in about 5 minutes when it hits midnight, when it's January 2nd. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what I found. Okay, so January 2nd, I'm going to start with the placements first, and I'm going to break down what these things mean and how I interpret these things. January 2nd, well, the new moon in Capricorn already started. Mercury on January 2nd, next, 5 minutes is officially January 2nd, is going to go into Aquarius. January 12th through the 16th, Mercury is going to square with Uranus. Sometimes you'll hear astrologers or people that deal with different metaphysics talk about the planets squaring up. Think about when we talk in the hood about squaring up with somebody. You about to fight them. Not that they're necessarily going to fight the planets, but when it squares up, it's like opposition. It's like they beefing a little bit, but they're not really beefing. So January 12th through the 16th, Mercury is going to square up with Uranus. January 14th till about February 4th, Mercury is going to go in retrograde in Aquarius. There's a lot of Aquarian and Capricorn energy being at play. Oh my gosh, I'm going to break down what all of this means to me and what I found from my findings. January 24th, well really, January 24th, I believe, Mars moves into Capricorn from my notes. But Venus has been in retrograde. It's going to be in retrograde until January 29th, which is interesting to me because Valentine's Day is in February. And there's going to be a lot of interesting things happening while there is a Venus retrograde. Now, for the people who do not study anything in astrology, you may not know what a retrograde is. A retrograde in astrology is when the planets look like they're starting to move backwards. So if it's a Venus retrograde, looking from Earth, Venus is looking like it's moving backwards. And a lot of times when there's a retrograde, a lot of people, not all the time, some retrogrades work very well with people depending on their placements, what's going on in their own individual life. But with retrograde, a lot of people talk about it nowadays because retrogrades can bring setbacks, but really retrogrades are meant to kind of give like a cosmic slowdown to people, to get us to slow down and start thinking slower, slowing things down, slowing our movement down. So it appears to move backwards as if you're going how would I put it, like a rewind to slow you down. Okay, so I'm gonna break down what these things mean from astrological as well as numerological. I'm gonna dive into that as well because that's more my specialty. So when the new moon with the new moon being in Capricorn, the intuition for people born under Capricorn energy and people who have Capricorn moons is going to be extra strong during that time, during this time. And it's going to be in Capricorn. Let me see. Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, so Capricorn, astrologically in Western astrology, deals with money, deals with organization, deals with finances, it deals with order, structure, self-motivation, work ethic. It deals with ambition. It deals with resilience. If you know or study anything about Capricorn, Capricorn astrologically is a cardinal sign. It's the first cardinal sign in astrology. Astrology has a lot of categories on how, in Western astrology, on how they break the signs and the elements and different things down, right? This stuff is going to get kind of deep tonight. So making sure y'all paid attention. If y'all want paper and pen, get paper and pen. Write them notes down. But Capricorn, what makes a sign a cardinal sign is that cardinal signs, every element, you have earth, air, water, fire. I'm just giving a brief synopsis of that before I go back in. Earth, air, water, fire in astrology, right? You have the earth signs, which are Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo. You have the water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. You have the earth sign. No, I said earth signs. You have the air signs, Aquarius, Libra, and the last earth sign, it's not the last in this order, but Gemini. There's air signs. Then you have the fire signs. You have Sagittarius. You have Leo. My thing keeps popping up weird. You have Sagittarius. You have Leo. You have Aries. What makes the signs, some of the signs, cardinal signs, one of each is a cardinal sign. It's categorized as a cardinal sign. Cardinal signs are the leaders of the pack, so to speak, of the element. So Cancer is a cardinal sign. Capricorn is a cardinal sign. Libra is a cardinal sign. Aries is a cardinal sign. Capricorn is not the first cardinal sign. Let me scratch that, what I said earlier. But Capricorn is a cardinal sign. What makes the signs cardinal signs is that the astrologically we are believed to be in that sign during the seasonal changes. So during the winter solstice, during the summer solstice, during the spring equinox, and so forth, that's when the seasons change. In Capricorn season, even though I said it's not the first in astrology, but the way the Gregorian calendar is, it's the first. Because January comes first in the Gregorian calendar. So Capricorn is considered the first cardinal sign, right? When Capricorn season comes, that's when winter begins. It gets very cold. The leaves fall off the trees. So it's harder for some plants to grow depending on the type of plant, different things like that. So if you notice with Capricorn energy is a very tough, resilient, they tough motherfuckers, tough, resilient energy. They may seem real calm on the surface, but it's a very durable, tough sign. Think about it. They're born at the coldest time of the year. You see what I'm saying? I say this to jump back into what I'm talking about with what's going on in 2022, specifically January, and the new moon being in Capricorn. With the new moon being in Capricorn, people may experience different things. Capricorn physiologically also rules the bones and the joints. So people may be experiencing joint pain, pain in the back, in the knees, things like that going on. With the new moon being in Capricorn, say for example, if you're someone with a Cancer moon, this may be a tough time for you emotionally, because Cancer and Capricorn are considered opposites in Western astrology. So it's so much information I'm trying to give y'all right now, and it's so much but I'm gonna keep going. Capricorn also deals numerologically. It's connected with the number 8. Capricorn rules finance, it rules business, it rules money. If you notice a lot of Capricorns, you don't usually meet a lot of lazy Capricorns. If you meet a lazy Capricorn, something is wrong because they're known for their work ethic. So this may be a time with the new moon being in Capricorn that you may be having the urge to work a lot, to really grind, to really be on grind season, to really hustle. This may be a time of maybe feeling a little emotionally disconnected. That's very possible with the moon being in Capricorn. Remember, the moon astrologically deals with the inner emotions. I guess I would say the expression of the inner emotions, because Venus, I'm going to get into Venus too. Venus deals with the emotions as well, but it deals with the emotions that are felt that are not expressed outwardly, whereas the moon deals with the emotions that are felt that are expressed outwardly, that are expressed. So it's kind of, they're similar but kind of different, right? Okay, let's keep going. Mercury goes into Aquarius. I mentioned that. Mercury is a planet that deals with communication, it deals with logic, it deals with lots of mental energy. Mercury is connected with Gemini and Virgo. If you notice, a lot of Virgos and a lot of Geminis live in their head a lot. Constant thinking, constant mental energy. Mercury goes into Aquarius on the 2nd, tomorrow. So with Aquarius is an air sign. So you're going to probably feel a need for communication. But Aquarius is a very rebellious sign to when you're looking at it from certain aspects. So people connected, you're going to feel connected to odd and unusual shit. That's really going to catch a lot of people's eyes. That's really going to make people gravitate to things that are kind of out the box, that are different. Because Aquarius is connected with Uranus. And Uranus and Aquarius, they bring an odd kind of energy. Uranus is an odd planet. If I'm not mistaken, I think Uranus is actually the only planet that we know of that's in a different direction than a lot of the other planets. So, if you notice, a lot of Aquarians march to the beat of their own kind of drum. They kind of have their own distant but oddity to them. Aquarius is also connected with the number 22. 22 in astrology also is an air number. It deals with lots of mental energy. It's actually a master number in astrology. It deals with, you'll find a lot of people, unfortunately, connected with 22 in certain, what I find with their numbers, that'll have mental health issues. Not that all of them do, all of them don't, but they have a lot of trouble sometimes discerning certain things. I'm going to get more into that as well. In their mind, they live in their mind a lot, and their mind is constantly going, constantly flowing. Sometimes it's hard to turn the thoughts off for them because they're restless. They're constantly thinking. They're analyzers, and they are very perceptive a lot of times too. Very perceptive. Pay a lot of attention to detail, which a lot of Aquarians tend to be kind of that way as well. I mentioned Aquarius being an air element, so during the time that Mercury goes into Aquarius, you may feel the need to communicate and be more expressive. You may feel the need to have more intellectual conversations and debates. You may find the need to express your view on things, even if it's a quote-unquote, like people say, unpopular opinion. Or you may come into people showing you new and different perspectives of things, of how you look at things, how you view things. Finding commonalities with people, I believe, is important with Mercury going into Aquarius and connecting, because Aquarius also deals with brotherly and sisterly love and connection. If you notice, a lot of Aquarians, some of them may be crazy, batshit crazy when it comes to relationships, but as friends, you have a lot of Aquarians that can be wonderful friends to other people. You know what I mean? With Mercury squaring up with Uranus, right? Uranus, however people say it. Mercury, remember, Mercury is connected with Virgo and connected with Gemini, the 5 and the 3 energy. Uranus is also connected with the number 11, which is the other recognized master number. When that happens around January 12th, I believe, from my notes, from what I found looking up, that's going to bring a restless energy to everyone, need for intellectual stimulation, challenges with being flighty. You're going to feel one way 1 minute and feel a whole nother way the next minute. You could feel one way one day and then kind of like sort of a bipolar emotional thing going on that you may experience. So just understand, if you're going through these different changes as the month goes by, some of it is just cosmic things happening as well that's affecting you. I'm gonna break this down even more. We almost done with the placement part, and then I'm gonna break down what all of this shit really means into 2022. There's some heavy shit, and what it means in January for people, right? For a lot of people, for damn near everybody. Shit, everybody gonna be affected. But when Mercury goes into retrograde, remember, the retrograde is when the planet appears to be moving backwards, not Earth, but the other planet that's in retrograde seems to be going backwards when we're looking from the Earth's perspective. That's when there'll be communication issues. 22 also deals with communication issues, so does 4 in numerology. Miscommunication, misinterpretation. During that time, people may have arguments over petty things, misunderstandings with communication with friends, loved ones. So it's important, because the retrograde is meant to slow us down, it's important that we take a step back and we slow the fuck down and reevaluate certain things. Because you don't want to lose friendships that are valuable during that time, because the alignment is hitting you a certain way, and it's going to affect everybody kind of differently, depending on, well, not everybody differently, but it's going to affect you how it affects you. And that's also attributed to the placements that you have in your own individual chart, as well as some other things, right? There also are going to be delays in travel plans. We're already having delays in travel plans with this pandemic going on, but during that Mercury retrograde in Aquarius, don't really plan to travel during that time. Or if you already do, or you already have a backup plan just in case you're not able to travel. Because the retrograde sometimes will put delays in travel. And also during that time, because there can be communication issues, you don't want to rush to judgment about things. And the last one I'm going to talk about in terms of placements, there's going to be 3 little parts to this that I'm doing tonight, is the Venus. Mars moves into Capricorn. I'm going to start there first. When Mars goes into Capricorn, Mars is the planet of war. It's the planet of action. It's a very masculine planet. Mars is ruled by or connected to Aries, but it used to be ruled by Scorpio, right? With Mars being in Capricorn, action, everything has a higher and a lower polarity to it, right? So that may put people in a like a very strong mode to be actionary in terms of their finances, in terms of getting through things, because that's that Capricorn energy. In terms of communication, people can come across really cold. You know what I mean? Distant around that time. Think of war and think of how Capricorns war with people, right? When a Capricorn has issues with you, or they go to war with someone, they're very calculating. They're very observant. They'll quietly observe and study to dismantle whatever the fuck they want to dismantle. So that's going to be hitting us soon. But in addition to that, okay, Venus retrograde. It's going to bring feelings of romantic restlessness within romantic connections and friendships. So what the hell does all of this mean, Ozma? What the fuck does all of this mean? All right, we're about to get to the breakdown. The real breakdown. Remember in the last video, if you watched the last video, I talked about 2022 being a master number and an angel number, right? Master number because 22 is a master number. It's the highest recognized master number by all numerologists. You have numerologists that'll say 33, 44, 55 are also master numbers, but every numerologist recognizes 11 and 22 as being the master numbers. 11 is a higher vibration of the number 2. So it's everything that applies to the 2, but magnified. 22 is a higher vibration of the number 4. Everything that pertains to the number 4, but magnified on a larger and bigger scale. This damn thing keeps popping up. Sorry, I keep pressing that button. 2022, also keep in mind, I talked about 22 being connected to Aquarius. 11 is also connected to Aquarius because Aquarius is connected to Uranus energy, right? We're also in the age of Aquarius. You keep hearing a lot of Aquarius, a lot of Capricorn. It's for a reason. What's going on? Also keep in mind that Uranus in astrology is the 11th house. Eleven deals with very strong intuition, vivid dreams, discernment of reality and fiction. Remember, the new Matrix movie just came out. During this year, it is super important to pay attention to your dreams, to your visions, and your intuition. I'm going to break down why in a second. Be mindful of your perception of things. That's one thing that I wrote also with the number 11. It's important because 11 is a number 2, but it's comprised of 2 ones, and one deals with your vision. Be mindful of how you're perceiving things. You could be seeing things one way, and it's something completely fucking different. It could be something that you're not even factoring. Because 11, because it's a 2, but a magnified 2, in addition to all the power and the intuition and the strength and the vivid dreams, the flip side of the 11 also deals with trickster energy, pulling the wool over people's eyes, fucking with your perception of reality, what's real and what's not, right? Revelations, perception of things. I wrote that twice. 22. Remember, it's 2022. And we're going to be writing 22 for short a lot of times when we write things. 22, as I mentioned, is a master number. The highest master number recognized by all numerologists. 22 deals with mastery, deals with structure and foundation. It's also known as the master builder, but on the flip side, it can be the master destroyer. 22 deals with overthinking, observation, and analysis, second guessing of the intuition, but highly intuitive energy. A lot of 22s overanalyze so much. They're highly intuitive, but their mind is constantly thinking so much that they a lot of times second guess their own intuition because they struggle with discernment as well, just like the 11s do. What the fuck does all of this mean? So this is how I broke all of this shit down to mean, based on what I researched and based on what I'm feeling. I'm going to read it exactly what I wrote. A lot of oddities this year and unusual things happening this year. Rebellion from traditions and old ways of thinking and being and living. Aquarius in astrology is known kind of like a rebel without a cause. It's a rebellious sign. It's a sign that does not like routine, that does not like things being in a specific order. It has to rebel. We're in Aquarian age. We're in 2022. Those numbers are Aquarian, right? Remember, Uranus is going to square with Mercury as well. January, having a Venus retrograde will affect partnerships, romantic friendships, and business partnerships, which I touched on a little bit before. With Venus in retrograde, remember, okay, I didn't touch on Venus on this part, but Venus, to touch on it really quickly, Venus deals with love, it deals with beauty, it deals with your emotions, things kept within yourself. Venus is connected to Taurus energy, and it's connected with Libra energy, and kind of with Cancer on a smaller scale, but really Taurus and Libra. With Venus in retrograde and all of this 11 and 22 energy, there will be tower moments that will take the veil off of how you have interpreted things around you, especially within your relationships. When I say tower moment, I'm speaking specifically, that's a tarot reader term. There's a card from the traditional tarot deck. I actually started studying tarot, y'all. Y'all know I can't shuffle, but I'm teaching myself. I'm gonna learn that shit. But there's a card in the tarot deck called the Tower card. And if you look at the Tower card in the traditional tarot deck, the Tower card in the traditional tarot deck, it's a tower with people in it, but the people are falling out, and there's fire, and there's all these things. And the Tower card represents something major happening. Something major happening that shifts things and turns things upside down. It takes the veil off your eyes. It takes any falsehoods that you've been subscribing to or believing in. It takes that shit from you, like, nah, that's not the truth. And after that, then it leaves room for healing and freedom to happen. So the Tower card is very important. So I referenced the Tower moment. So I also continued to write. I said, let me see, where am I? Honeymoon phase may end, and we'll begin to see and observe the movement of things around us for what they really are, and not for what we want them to be or thought they were. Notice another Matrix. After all these years, another Matrix movie came out. Remember what the Matrix movie was about. The Matrix that we live in, the world that we live in, and the actual real world. The real world that exists versus this man-made perception of a world that we exist and live in. Right? Y'all following me? Y'all feeling me? I'm hoping y'all following me with it. All right, because it's building. Where am I? This will lead to a lot of harbored emotions and breakups. So between January and February, you're going to have a lot of breakups with people, possibly. This is what I'm seeing. A lot of breakups. Even a lot of breakups of toxic relationships. Relationships that have been toxic all the fuck along, but people have been living in denial about it. Because with the shifts that's happening with the planets, it's changing how people are perceiving things emotionally and the feelings that are inside, that are hidden inside. It's shifting people's perception of a person, where you may always thought it was cute when your partner did something, but now you're looking at that shit differently, like, damn, that's kind of disgusting. Or whatever, you know. So there'll be a lot of breakups, but just like in my last video when I talked about a lot of relationships and unions happening, that also will be happening in 2022. So it's interesting to me that the year is kicking off and starting off with these strong ass placement, with these squares happening and these cold ass energies, because it's like cosmically and universally, the divine is breaking apart certain unions so that new unions can be rebuilt, that are meant for the future and meant for, you know, time. The season is over for certain unions. So you have to be careful also with how you're feeling emotionally during that time, because you don't want to be someone in a good or positive relationship. Every relationship has challenges, every relationship has problems, but you don't want to be someone with a good thing going on, and because you're feeling all this way emotionally because of the planetary shifts and changes, you don't fuck up your own relationship and be like, I don't like this motherfucker no more, I don't like no. You don't want to do that. But also remember, this is Aquarian age rebellion, breaking of those unions and rebuilding new ones. Gets deeper. This is also, oh wait, what did I write? Oh, as a note, it's what I just said before I go to the next part. I recently read something today. I was reading and watching this video and reading something, and people have been talking about how Megan Good and her husband broke up and how they were such a perfect looking couple, and they were together 9 years. Then they broke up. Keep in mind what's happening with the planetary shifts right now. Right? And 9 is a year of completion, endings, before a new beginning, before it goes back to 1 numerologically. Something very interesting that's happening this year. It hasn't happened in 225 years. A Pluto returns happens this year. Right? A return, astrologically, is when, you know how the earth rotates around the sun and it takes approximately 24 hours for a whole day to be completed? All the other planets revolve around the sun, but they take a different time and a different speed. Pluto takes 225 freaking years in our time to revolve around the sun. This year, it completed a return. It's completing a return. But it's completing a return in Scorpio for the United States. That's some heavy shit. This is very significant, especially for, it's significant for everyone, but especially for Pluto and Scorpio children. I think I did a video a long time ago, or something, or maybe a post or something, maybe like last year, earlier this year, something, where I talked about Pluto and Scorpio children. Pluto and Scorpio children are people who are born, and this is not the only Pluto and Scorpio children, but for our time, people who are born approximately between November 13th, 1983 to November 13th, 1993. I'm not going to go dive too deep into the Pluto and Scorpio children. If y'all want me to do a video on Pluto and Scorpio children and a breakdown of that, just write in the comments and let me know. And I'll do a video dedicated to the Pluto and Scorpio children. But Pluto is going to go in Scorpio. That means Scorpio will be in its home planet. Right? Pluto deals with transformation, resurrection. It deals with the cycle of life and death and rebirth. That's another tough-ass planet, Pluto. Saturn is the planet that's connected with Capricorn. Tough fucking planets, right? Scorpio is connected, as I stated, with Pluto. So Scorpio is going to be at home for the United States, in its home placement, I should say. Scorpio is ruler of the underworld. Scorpio deals with the hidden, what's not seen, but what's felt. Sometimes in life, there are things that you can't explain logically, things that you cannot explain through ABC. There are things that exist, not even sometimes, all the time, things all the time around us that exist that can't be explained or broken down with the human eye. That can't be, you can't take a magnifying glass to it and always see it, but you feel it energetically, especially if you're tapped inward and you're in tune. Scorpio is another tough ass sign like Capricorn. It's a very resilient sign. Scorpio deals with money. It deals with very deep intuition. It deals with um, to some degree aggression and anger on its lower side, because remember I mentioned earlier in the video, Mars used to be ruled by Scorpio, but now it's ruled by Aries, but that's a whole nother thing. But I still consider them connected. As in my last, I'm reading from what I wrote. As in my last video, I referenced revelations and uncovering and exposure of lies so truth can be seen. This is what will be occurring in 2022. Pluto and Scorpio children, before I go to this part, Pluto and Scorpio children, astrologically and from a spiritual standpoint, are believed to be here to dismantle a lot of things about the world as we know it. The Pluto and Scorpio children, if you look at the dates, they came after the crack age. A lot of Pluto and Scorpio children have abandonment issues, came from broken or dysfunctional families, desperately have a need to build family connection. I'm a Pluto and Scorpio child, by the way. But with Pluto being in Scorpio, Scorpio deals with destroying and rebuilding. It's also a lot of sensual and sexual energy. But it's very spiritual and mystical. And it's very occultish. A lot of Scorpios are very, very intuitive. They may not be able to explain why the fuck or how the fuck they know something, but they know something. Even some of the most wicked Scorpios. You have some really good, beautiful energy ones, and then you have some wicked, devious ones. Wicked. But those wicked ones, I'll give y'all an example. I used to deal with a Scorpio man years ago, maybe actually over 10 years ago. And, you know, an abusive relationship that I had, one of my abusive relationships that I had in the past. This dude, man, he was just a wicked person. He was very devious, very negative of a person, very abusive kind of person. And you can tell by the way he talked and things he said, he enjoyed it. He loved, something in him loved harming others. And he was very intuitive, though. He knew things. He knew things. And you like, how the fuck does he know that? And me being a Cancerian with that Cancer energy, Cancer is also equally, if not even more, or just as intuitive. So there was things that I would uncover with him, and he would kind of look at me like, how the fuck you know that? And I'll be looking at him like, how does he know that? You know what I mean? I say all of this to just speak towards the the Scorpion energy. Going back to this. 2022 will begin the fall of authority, government, and structures built on crooked and faulty and fucked up foundations to destroy and rebuild. Let me repeat that. 2022 will begin the fall of authority, government, and structures built on crooked and faulty foundations to destroy and rebuild. Hold up. There we go. A cosmic tower moment, an uncovering of the unseen inner workings of the matrix world we live in. That's some shit right there. If you really take that in and understand what I'm talking about, things that we think are one way between 2022 and 2023, we're going to find out are not that way. There is a great awakening that already started, that's been happening, but it's going to amplify and speed up, I believe. It's going to amplify, it's going to speed up. And if you notice, something very odd is going on and has been going on with the time. Time is very fast, way faster than it ever was, as far as we know it at this, our generations. It seems like 6 months goes by and then it's the whole year. And you're like, how the fuck? It feels like it's only 6 months and it's a whole year. This is a time of a great awakening. If you notice, people who aren't quote unquote or never been quote unquote conscious or conspiracy theorists are starting to get into it. They're starting to see maybe those people that question things weren't as crazy as I thought. Maybe they wasn't as bugged out as I thought. Maybe they was tapped in ways that I didn't know and I didn't understand. A great awakening is happening. And Bro Sanchez said something the other night on his live, and I was cracking up, and he said something like along the lines of Mother Nature tired of our asses. And I've been saying that for a minute. That's what made me laugh when he said it. And he said something along the lines of now she's just causing, the universe is causing an awakening on everything now. The veil is being lifted left and right. Even the children are very different of this generation. Every generation, the children are different because they come with different purpose. But this generation of children are very odd. The way that they think, the things that they catch on to, the way that they eat is different. I know a lot of people who, within the past few years, have had children, and they some of my meat eating friends, and they like, my baby won't eat no meat. My baby don't want that shit. But think of what's happening with the food. Something is like, the baby's tasting it like, this don't taste right. Don't want that shit. You know what I mean? These children are very intuitive, very techie children. And it makes sense because the age of Aquarius, 22, also rules technology. I'm going to go into the last parts of what I wrote. Personal work on the shadow self, walking in your power, not just talking it, and realizing your self-worth is crucial at this time. We don't have any more time to waste. If you are a quote-unquote healer, if you are a spiritualist, this is our time to step the fuck up. All of us. We don't have a lot more time. And we will get a divine, universal ass whipping if we do not. Because we came here at this time for the work that we are here to do. Do you understand what I mean? There's a reason we came back at this time. We don't have time to play games. We don't have much time for fear and all of that shit. We don't have time for self-doubt. This is the time we got to step the fuck up and walk in our shit. Because we're needed right now. And we're going to be needed a lot more than ever. I wrote, Scorpio also deals with money, being that it's in the 8th house astrologically. Now remember, I talked about 8 on previous videos. If you watch my channel and if you're subscribed, you'll see me break down things with the number 8. 8 is a karmic number. It's a spiritual number, but it's also a karmic number. Well, karma is spiritual. But 8 is, as I mentioned earlier in the video, connected with Capricorn energy. It's a karmic number. It deals with spirituality. A lot of people have spiritual gifts. Everybody has. Let me say something first. Because people be acting like they're better than everybody else because they tapped in spiritually. Everybody has the capacity to be tapped in spiritually. Everybody has the capacity to be tapped in spiritually. Some people, it just comes for easier than others. When you were given the gifts that you were given, you were not given them just to be fucking given them. You were given them to use them. Whether you use it on a large scale, whether you use it on a small scale. If you are naturally a medium, see, I'm about to kick y'all asses right now real quick, verbally. If you are naturally a medium, stop running from your fucking gift. If you are naturally an empath, not people that's just fucking sensitive, because everybody calls themselves an empath and they're not always empaths, right? If you are naturally a psychic, self-medicating with drugs, alcohol doesn't help to deal with it. You have to learn how to use your gift. This is why the divine gave you a gift. And as I'm speaking to y'all and giving this verbal ass whipping, I'm giving myself a verbal ass whipping too. You are not given the gifts to see spirits just to fucking be afraid of it and wish it away and pray it away. This was a gift given to you for the divine to help you navigate through this fucked up hell realm. And it is important that you use your gifts not just for your own good and not for wickedness, unless that's your path. Because everything has a balance. But these gifts that you've been given were given to you for a reason. Don't run from them anymore. Learn how to use them properly. Learn how to use them properly. Ask for spiritual guidance in whatever you believe. Study. Whatever you got to do. Because we are in a war. We have been in a war. We have been in a spiritual war. This shit ain't new. But it's our time to carry the torch. Eight is a karmic number connected with Capricorn energy. Expect to see karmic ass whippings of people at the top. Faulty structures. And, damn, what the hell did I write there? I wrote it so fast, it's kind of sloppy. Faulty structures in businesses. And possibly the fall of the United States as we know it. The reason I say that is because Pluto and Scorpio is going into placement for the United States. As the Pluto returns, it'll be in Scorpio for the United States. So, you know, a lot of America's fuckery. Oops. Oh, shit. I pressed the wrong button. Sorry, y'all. I was trying to get this bubble out the way that keeps popping up. A lot of America's fuckery has been being shown to the rest of the world, if you notice, right? The way they poison the people with the food, the way they giving everybody this, they keep making these new variants and all this bullshit. A lot of these things, the rest of the world has been looking. If you have friends from other countries or that live in other countries, they can tell you the rest of the world be looking at the U.S. like, what the fuck going on with the U.S.? That must be the greatest country in the world. What the fuck they do to the people? I had a friend one time from Italy ask me some shit one time. You know what she said? And I couldn't answer the question. She said, Ozma, why does y'all country hate y'all so much? It was a damn good question that I could not answer. And I was just like, damn, it's fucked up. People have been seeing with the presidents, with the politics, shit happening like Flint. How we the fake ass richest country of the world, but niggas ain't got clean water for over a year. People are starting to see beyond the matrix. And the awakening and the unveiling of these things are going to happen more and more, and it's going to happen faster, at a faster speed. It's going to speed up. It's going to keep happening, and it's going to get more aggressive. This cosmic spiritual ass whooping is coming. The beginning's already started. Also, I talked in the last financial setbacks can happen also, especially with Pluto and Scorpio. You can gain money financially. See, there's a duality to everything. There's a polarity to everything. 8 is a number that deals with money, business, finance. It's connected with Scorpio. You can get a lot of money with the 8 energy. But if you get in your money in a way that lacks integrity, or you're harming people, or you're harming yourself, remember 8 is also a karmic number. If you look at it, it's 2 ciphers, 2 circles on top of each other, going in 2 different directions. If you turn it to the side, it looks like infinity. 8 will bring that karma right on back to your ass real quick. Look at the 8. It goes around and then it comes back up and goes back around. Infinity keeps on going, non-stop. It's karma. So all the fucked up things that have been happening in the world, the things that U.S. has been causing, not just U.S., but in general, you're going to start to see a lot of that shit crumble. And I had to share that with you guys and do a part 2 because, you know, I tend to like to stay sometimes on the positive side, but I have to say what I see, what I feel, and what I'm finding and what I'm researching. I'm compelled to do that, good or bad. And last but not least, in the last video, if you watched it, you'll see that I spoke about possible natural disasters happening because of the numbers. Add to those natural disasters earthquakes. With all this earth energy happening, all this earth numbers, earth energy, it's a lot of earth and a lot of air energy. Yeah. Because the Aquarius is air. A lot of the air and a lot of the earth energy. So add to the natural disasters earthquakes. There may be earthquakes happening as well in different parts of the world or in the U.S. So, this is a time of great awakening. There's a lot of beautiful things coming, and there's a lot of tough-ass things coming. This month, January, may be kind of tough for a lot of us. But remember, opposition, struggle, and toughness can be rites of passage to propel you to greatness, to propel you to success, to propel you to... It's like when it rains. After the rain, in the daytime, you'll see a rainbow when the rain is over. So don't be discouraged or sad. Get prepared. Be aware on what's occurring. Okay, you guys? I'm going to post this video on my YouTube as well. Feel free. I'm going to post the YouTube link on my page. Feel free to like, comment, share, subscribe, whatever. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, comment. Give me some feedback or whatever. If you have any suggestions, if you want to know more about other things, there's any specific videos you want me to do, I'll just write it in the comments. Thank you all for your time, everyone who participated, everyone who sat here. I know it's late, and you guys prepare for a beautiful new year, a beautiful and enlightening new year, and don't be afraid of struggle, opposition, because it has to come. It has already happened because we're actually in past time. It's already happened. We already went through it. We're just going through the motions of watching a movie, you know. So if you understand what I mean, all right? You guys have a peaceful night, and tap inward, turn inward for answers. You don't have to always turn outward for answers. You're not always going to get the right answer. Turning outward and looking for outward things. All the answers of what you need is really in you and around you. You know what I mean? We all got our struggles. If you're struggling with something, get help. Ain't no shame in going to therapy. Ain't no shame in none of that shit. You ain't got to tell nobody. But get the help that you need. Research. Look things up. Try to figure out what you can do to help yourself in any way that you want to help yourself. Like I mentioned in the first video, there's a lot of great things that are going to happen in 2022 as well. 2022 is a 6th year. That's love energy. And 6 is connected with Venus. Venus is significant, like a motherfucker this year. 6 is connected. It's Venus energy. That's love. Some of you might meet your soulmate this year. Some of you might break toxic relationships and meet the person of your freaking dreams this year. So there's a lot of greatness coming, but there's also the flip side. Everything has a polarity. You're going to have greatness. You're going to have struggle. Okay? Love y'all. Peace. If you end this video, you'll be able to choose if you want to